Hello and welcome to this week's Training on Demand. This week we're going to have a little conversation about communication. Hopefully I can communicate well enough to you so that we get the message across. We're really talking about this is a fire situation, but what I'm really talking about, the essence of what I'm talking about here is non-emergency communication. That is, in the station, on duty, volunteer time, whatever it is. One of the things that we don't do very well, a lot of communication classes talk about, the 5 parts of communication and feedback and receiver and all that sort of stuff. But I think that what we fail on, and certainly what has affected me greatly, is talking about what did not get done, or what is not said to the bosses or the managers, lieutenants, captains, chiefs, whoever, what didn't get said. I use this real life example as an example of that, but I just want you to think about what is not being said in your organization, what doesn't get done, what don't you know about is really the key. The short story here, and this is not the fire, this is just a representative fire picture from the internet. But the fact is that the situation was we had a fire, a 2-story fire. I send a crew up the front, I assign a safety officer to the rear of the structure, and we ask for the roof to be opened. It's older firefighting, it's back a number of years or what have you. I don't see anything good happening. Nothing's happening. The line is not advancing. The situation appears like it's getting worse. Things are getting ugly, and suddenly the crew comes bailing out. High heat conditions. They're getting chased out by fire. So we regroup, and we do whatever. And I have a conversation with the safety chief, and he says, well, the roof was actually burning through in the back, so I didn't put the people on the roof. The point is, never told me that fact. So I've got a plan, I'm implementing a plan, I'm sending firefighters thinking that they're going to get some relief. And the fact of the matter is, what was not said to me was probably more important. Now, I can assure you that on that fire ground, there was enough radio chatter for 10 people. But the fact is, sometimes communication, in this case, the lack of meaningful communication, really can twist up an organization pretty quickly. So I'm using a fireground example, but I'm really talking about non-fireground situations. The other way we get tangled up in the fire service and in human life in general, we get tangled up all the time. Say what you mean. Say what you mean. As you start to look at these, and I'll kind of give you my spin on them as we go, and there's a million examples now. But, some of what we say, what does it really mean? I tell somebody, give me this the first thing on Monday. What does that mean? Is that 7 o'clock in the morning? Is that midnight, 12:01? Is that 9 o'clock, start of business, 8 o'clock, start of business? And then I get mad when I don't have the document, the form, the report, whatever the heck it is that I'm looking for. I get angry and I get frustrated and I say, well, that doesn't work. Nobody's paying attention here. Well, they might have paid attention if I told them what I actually meant to tell them. The other one, not much different than the first one. I need this as soon as possible. Well, what does that mean? And how long are you realistic in your goals? Not only how are you communicating your goals, how realistic are your goals in general? This one's kind of an interesting one as we move forward. We need to do better. Huh? What are you talking about? We need to improve response time. I need the members of C shift to improve their training records and training hours. It's not getting done. I need nothing. You can't have an ambiguous statement. You have to say what you mean and be very clear what you mean, and kind of have an objective sort of stuff. Sort of the same thing, right? Nothing is getting done around here. Nothing's getting done. What does that mean? There's certain things that you want done that are not getting done, but I'm certain that something is getting done. Communication is the key to 2/3 of our problems in the fire service. You know what? That's a lie. Probably 90% of our problems. The next one is kind of interesting and really takes a different turn. This is a firefighter looking to do something. You're speaking to a third party. And the conversation kind of goes like this. Tell him I'm in a meeting. So you're talking to your administrative assistant, you're talking to another officer, you're talking to somebody else, and you make up a lie. Tell so-and-so I can't talk to them because I'm in a meeting, but the fact is you really are not in a meeting. This one's a powerful one, because what you've said to your associates, your coworkers, your peers, or your subordinates is, it's okay if I lie. I'm okay to lie for convenience. And quite frankly, you know what? I'm even going to encourage this, and I'm going to ask you to lie for me. That's how much I endorse this. So it's a little common, simple thing. The short answer, get up out of the chair and tell Smith yourself, listen, I'm jammed up right at the moment. I'll get to you as soon as I can. I'll see you at 2 o'clock or whatever, put a time limit on it, do whatever. But don't lie yourself, and don't get somebody else to lie for you, because I think that's where we get in trouble. And then I can't raise enough red flags, and you know what, this has been said at every firehouse coffee table or whatever. In fact, it's been said on worse occasions than that. I actually, in my career as a fire chief, have had a human resources person say those phrases to me. I'll deny I ever said that. What you said is, I am okay, I am a liar, and I am okay to tell you that I'm a liar. It's a self-admission that you will lie. They're not going to admit or stand up or be honorable to what they said. Speaking clearly, communication is saying really, just think about these very simple examples. And as I said, there's a ton of these. There's a lot more of these than I'm talking about right now. So think about them. Hopefully these trigger some thoughts in your head. And you think about the phrases where, can somebody really understand what it is I'm trying to tell them? Not only is it what you say, but in fact, it's how you say what you say. What happens in so you read these sentences, 2, 4, 6 sentences, and the words have not changed. The words have not changed in any of these. But the question is, if I emphasize that word. So the first one says, I am not upset with your work. That's a statement. It's a conversation. You're having a conversation with another firefighter, maybe a shift commander, whatever it happens to be, and you say, I'm not upset with your work. The second time, I actually choose to say, I am not upset with your work. Kind of interesting. What does that imply? It implies that somebody is upset with your work. Then you get a little more vocal, and it's escalating a little bit. I am not upset with your work. Well, something is clearly still wrong here. It's very obvious that something's wrong here, and there's more that needs to be said. We still haven't changed the words. What we're changing is how we say what we say. I am not upset with your work. Well, you're something. Are you disappointed with my work? Are you frustrated with my work? Are you whatever? When you emphasize the word upset, clearly something is amiss there. Then we take it one more step. I am not upset with your work. Is it an engine company thing? You're mad at the whole company? You're mad at the shift? You're mad at the medics on the ambulance? You're upset with somebody's work, just not the person you're speaking to. So again, we haven't changed the words. What we're changing is the inflection of our voice that really changes the meaning of all of these sentences. And the last one is you're frustrated and screaming and acting like a banshee. I am not upset with your work. Well, clearly you're upset because you've lost control. You've lost the way that you were behaving previous to this. So as we move through this thing, we learned a couple of things. Sometimes what is unsaid can be as important and as critical in a non-fire situation. Certainly on the fire ground, it's much worse. But even in a non-fire ground situation, the communication that you don't receive could be critical to what's going on in your organization. Being clear in your language is important, and that needs to be dealt with correctly. Make it better. Be conscious of what you're saying and be clear on what you're saying and get it done correctly. The way you say what you say can affect your internal organization communication within your organization. Think about that as well. Hopefully we've given you a couple of things to think about. Hopefully we've given you something to talk about and reflect on. These short little training on demand situations, just trying to help you out a little bit. Obviously, all of these are segments that I do, full programs on, whether that's a 1-hour program, whether that's, an officer leadership class for a day, whatever that happens to be, I do much of this. If you have questions or you don't understand something, or quite frankly, if you like what's going on with these little training on demand sections, send me an email, let me know what's going on. I really do these things for you.